Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is a Black Manga Critic here. Uh, felt like just kind of, I guess, like just felt like talking. Felt like talking, doing the stream. Um, wanted to put some thoughts out there, and it's like obviously the rambling streams aren't, they're not meant to be, these like video essays where everything is sort of neatly sort of wrapped up and stuff like that, but um I think they are useful at least for myself to kind of just like put thoughts out there about certain things, and just to kind of get those things off my chest, like in that way. I think there are always moments where like the space that we're in right now, the time that we're in right now, where you know you need outlets. You know what I mean? You need outlets. What's up, Beyonce? What's up? You know what I mean? Like, you need that. And I think for me, like, my channel is one, Twitter, you know what I mean? Like, those are my two, like, main sort of like social media outlets. Like, I'm not on Instagram. Like, I don't, unless like I'm trying to like, see something live or something like that or whatever, like, or something like a conversation between, scholars or something like that, or people who are in the media and that kind of thing. But, Twitter is important to me. My YouTube is important to me. My channel is important to me. So I think for me, it's just like, having these kind of conversations, getting my thoughts out there. Hopefully it helps in some way. And hopefully it sort of like rallies people, into sort of taking more action, or just to become like actionable. Um, Obviously, I've been tweeting today a lot. Yesterday too, but more so today. About George Floyd, and I think a lot of us who are watching this video, either live or after the fact, like, are aware of what happened. I'm not gonna get into sort of the nitty gritty of it in that sort of way, just because I think there are multiple outlets, multiple spaces where you can get that information. A lot of this is just kind of me talking about how I feel. Like, again, I'm just kind of, again, it's rambling. That's what it is. Just thoughts about it, and what I kind of see around me, and what's bothering me, and what I feel like could be done, like what more could be done and stuff like that. Because I always think there's always more that can be done. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's true in a lot of cases. Um, so like it's rough. It's rough. Like, today's definitely a rough day for me. Excuse me. I had like a few people DM me, a few people send out tweets, and that's been really helpful. I think for me, I think I'm at a point. I've been at this point for a long time. I think folks know this already. But I've been at this place, like, where I'm most sort of always talking about, like, these are, there are things that you can do, and not doing them is sort of like an issue. It becomes a problematic that just kind of grows. But this is gonna be about just talking about, like, doing your work, and that can be that means a lot of things, but I think ultimately it sort of comes down to, you know understanding, figuring out what you can do in your like, particular situations, right? And doing that consistently if you can, you know. So for me, I think, like, I've been on YouTube for close to 3 years now. Um and I don't know. I would be really interested in sort of hearing from folks, and how they feel like, how they feel like the state of, like, this. I don't even want to call it a community. I wouldn't even call it that, because I'm kind of tired of doing that. I'm just like I have people that, like, I consider part of, like, like mutuals, and people that I talk to often, and, like, and and even if we don't talk often, like, like we've had a conversation or something like that, So like I feel like that's like there's like a connection there. I wouldn't even call it a community. I wouldn't even call it like an Twitter community at this point. I'm like kind of tired of that. I don't know. Like for me, I don't know how useful that is. Because I have a very particular idea of what constitutes a community, and a big part of that is this sort of like mutual sort of uplifting of one another and helping one another and supporting one another. And to me, I think a lot of folks have this like idea that that's something that happens, but I think to me that happens in very deliberate sort of deliberately formed circles. And so whenever people are sort of like, oh, here's this like Anna Twitter community and manga community, whatever, I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure. And when I say not sure, really, I mean like I don't think so. So and this is the thing, right? Like, again, I've been on YouTube for close to 3 years now. So it's at a place where I'm just sort of like, what's up? What's going on? And I've like consistently had to make decisions to sort of be like, all right, you not someone that I can really like mess with. You're not really someone that I can mess with. You're not really someone that I can mess with. You're someone that I have to block. You're someone that I have to block. You're someone that I have to call out. You're someone that, like, it's like, and it's just like progressively sort of, it feels like, I don't know, I don't want to say gotten worse, but it feels like the longer I've been on here, the more I'm aware of, right? Which is to say that a lot of this stuff has probably been happening for at least a decade. Right, it's 2020 now, right? So when I say a decade, I don't mean like, well, all the way back to the to the 90s. Like, no. This has been happening for at least a decade, at least, right? At least, right? So for me, it's just like, what's up? And I want to say, when is that change coming? But I think the thing for me is like, it's better to sort of ask, what work are you doing? Are you doing your work? That's something I think is much more useful, right? Like, it's not useful for me to like get into like Twitter drama with people and, like not even Twitter drama, but like YouTube drama, or like, dude, that's not useful for me. What's useful for me is like change, progress, those kinds of things. That's useful for me. It's not useful for me to be like, yo, you're not like, like, I'm calling you out. I'm gonna embarrass you, da da da. That's why you never see me throwing out like you never really see me throw out names or point at certain folks and do certain things like that. I haven't done that unless someone comes at me or someone really comes as somebody that like I consider to be a friend and close and that I'm close with. Like, if you do that, then we got a problem. But if you haven't done that and you're just kind of like, whatever, over somewhere over there, I don't call you up. But that might be something like, but the only reason I don't do that is not because I don't think that, you should be like, something should be done, but it's because it's not particularly useful. You know what I mean? It doesn't lead to the kind of change that I'm sort of looking for. That's not to say that I don't think others can't do that. If you feel like that's useful for you and you feel like that leads to certain changes, do you. But on my end, that hasn't been helpful. Like in the past, just like talking with certain folks and like being like, yo, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? Like, why? Like, that hasn't been useful. It hasn't been useful for me to go on other YouTubers' channels and have conversations. That hasn't been. Well, I won't say it hasn't been totally like useless, but it hasn't resulted in the change that I'm looking for. You feel me? Like it hasn't led to the change that I need and that I need to see. And so I'm constantly thinking about what is it that I have to do to get that moving. You know what I mean? I saw somebody tweet out, yo, what's going on? Tweet out Black Lives Matter. And the thing for me is like, people in these spaces will go out of their way to talk about, I gotta retweet that Rock Lee versus Gara underrated tweet. I gotta tweet about that. I gotta make sure that gets 10K tweets. I gotta make sure that gets 100K tweets. I gotta push that. But when it comes to this kind of stuff, right? When it comes to the death, right? Well, to the murder of George Floyd, and talking about talking about why, and talking about how Black Lives Matter, and pushing these activist movements, it's like looking around, hard to find folks in this community talking about that. And the thing, and I'll say this, folks, like, y'all know who I am, right? When it comes to this, y'all know who I am. This is me every single day, on Twitter, on YouTube, in my own life. This is me all the time, right? Folks that know me know that this is what I'm about. They know this. So, right? And that's because I make sure they know. Hold on, I'll be right back. You know what I mean? They know me. So you have to, like, so for me, it always sort of comes back to, like, what are some of y'all on your platforms doing? Right? And again, I don't name names because I don't have to. Right? I don't have to. But y'all know who you are. Again, y'all know me. So you know I'm going to be about this every single day. Every single day. And I'm not letting up. Because that's who I am. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean that I don't take time to just be like, yo, I can't right now. That doesn't mean I don't take time to, like, read a manga, or, or have some tea with my fiance, or, pet my cats, or do anything, or clean or tidy up, or do anything that helps me, with my mood, and with, and like, that doesn't mean I don't do that stuff, but it does mean I'm on it. And the thing for me is, like, again, it's been close to 3 years. I've been on this platform for close to 3 years. Close to 3 years. And I'm at a place where I'm like, again, I don't name names because, again, that leads to a particular kind of drama that is not useful for me. Right? I know a lot of folks love to see that, but every time I've seen that on this platform and on other platforms, but especially on YouTube, every time I've seen it, it never leads to the type of change that people are looking for. I haven't seen it. You know what I mean? Where someone's like, that person doing this thing, that person doing that thing. I haven't seen it. But again, what I can do is be like, I need to see more from folks. This includes myself. There are things that I can do more of. Right? Anytime I'm talking about what other folks can do, that also includes myself. It also includes me. Always. You know what I mean? So the thing is, like, again, like, I haven't seen what I need to see. And in the past, folks know, right? Some of y'all might think, oh, how come you don't talk with these folks? How come you don't talk with that folks? Because I've done that already. I've done it already. It didn't do anything. It wasn't helpful. It only made me more upset and more saddened. And I had to take a break because it was just like, what am I doing here? So now I've decided I got to take a different approach. I got to care about myself. I got to make sure everybody in my life is good. I got to make sure that I'm defending folks that need it. I got to make sure I'm supporting folks that need it. That's what I'm going to do. But I'm very much so done with, like, certain types of conversations. I don't want to go on other people's channels and talk about certain things. Ain't gonna change nothing. You know what I mean? And a lot of y'all know this too. You know, it's not gonna change nothing. For me to go on somebody else's channel or some other place, be like, yo, let's have a conversation about blah, blah, blah. It ain't gonna change a damn thing. Y'all know, again, I've been on this platform, and I keep saying this because it's really important. Years. And the same nonsense. I keep seeing the same nonsense. Right? Folks either not saying nothing, but about, hey, let's do this thing, let's do that. Not saying a damn thing. Even to this day. You know what I mean? Right? When it's like without a shadow of a doubt that this man was murdered. Without a shadow of a doubt that this dude was murdered. Right? Folks are still like, and I'm like, look, you know, I don't know. And this is about other things too, right? This is about other things too. It's not just like, right, police brutality and all that. But that's sort of like what you know, that's a big part of what we're talking about here. I can get into every other thing. I can get to every other thing that I have issues with. I'd be here for like 5 hours though. I really would. It's something that I want to do in soon, but you know, it's like this to me is like a very. It's so straightforward. I can't even, man. I can't even. It's so straightforward. But folks haven't said that. I'm not gonna swear because if I do, it'll just can't do it. But I'm saying. And for me, that's not okay. It's not okay for like YouTubers, people on Twitter, people with certain platforms to be up on there, right, on YouTube, on Twitter, not saying a goddamn thing. That's not okay with me. That legit makes me upset. It makes me angry because it's like, y'all know how many black folks come through in this space, in these spaces, in these circles, and y'all ain't saying nothing. Especially white folks. Especially white folks. If you're not saying a damn thing, if you haven't said nothing, you ain't helped nothing, you ain't donate if you can. And I know some of y'all can. Right? Donate to the Black Youth Project. Donate to No New Jails. Donate to the Minnesota Freedom Fund. Look into mutual aid. Right? Where y'all at? And again, I've been at this for years. Years. And I get the same nonsense, man. I'm done. I'm tired of it. Tired. I've been seeing the same nonsense. Same folks making the same corny jokes. But ain't done nothing. Nah. Meanwhile, folks still dying. You know what I mean? Certain people, it's like, come on, man. It's like folks still come on, Alex. Folks still talking about, prisons. Folks still complain. Like, what are we doing? I know teenagers. I know 14-year-olds that are aware of the awful horrors of the prison industrial complex. Folks is 14. Some of y'all in your 30s. Some of y'all in your late 20s. What are y'all doing though? Nobody said you need to be a professor. who's read like the majority of the seminal works on certain topics. Nobody said you had to do that. Who said you had to do that? Did I ever say that? No, I didn't ever say that. But you gotta put in some work. Y'all gotta do some work. And it doesn't just mean saying, oh, okay, let's talk about this thing and nothing gets done after that conversation. Let's all just sit in a circle, twiddle up, and not do a damn thing. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of it. 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 Tired of it. Done. And again, as the years have gone by, it becomes more and more clear. It becomes more and more clear, folks who are about it and folks who need to be about it. Right? And then folks who were just lost causes. And I'm just like, you know what I mean? Right? Does that mean I'm going to stop doing what I'm doing? Nope. Nah. But it does mean I'm going to keep being on this. I'm going to be like, yo, what are y'all doing though? What are y'all doing though? Right? It's not just about like donations and ally and doing ally work and all that stuff. But it's like, what is that? What does all that stuff entail? Who you talking to? What you reading? What you listening to? What do you like? What are the texts that you're consuming? Right? And absorbing. These are all really important things. These are all really important things. And we have to talk about them. We have to get to a place where we feel like things are getting done. And there's a reason why folks are rioting in Minneapolis, right? There's a reason why that's happened, why folks are doing that, right? Folks weren't just like, all right, woke up one morning, let's riot. Let's steal some cookware. That's not how that works. And I keep seeing the same folks tweeting about King, Michael Porter Jr., talking about, yo, man, we gotta pray for the cops. You gotta pray for the cops too. Bro, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? And then some dude who wanted to defend him talking about, I know folks don't like his tweet, but remember what MLK said? Said only love can beat hate. Man, cherry picked the damn crap out of MLK's words. Even though MLK has talked about riots and talked about how riots come about in his writings. Right? This is the stuff, it gets on my nerves, man. It gets on my nerves. And to get back to just like this community stuff, it's like some of y'all ain't said a damn word. And I understand if there are black folks who are like, yo, I gotta, like, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. I'm going to process this in the way that I have to process this. And I'm going to help out in the way that I can help out. Right? Everybody else, though? What's going on? Where the tweets at? Where the videos at? Where the conversations at? Because y'all ain't done nothing. Please. It's tough. I think, Alex, I think the thing is like, come through. You know, for me, it's like, I'm always, you know, if you want to have a DM conversation, I'm always up for it. You know what I mean? Like, definitely. Folks know if they want to DM me, I follow them, and then I'm like, all right, let's DM, let's have a combo. Folks know, so that ain't gonna come from me. You know? I think the thing is like I think people should be very aware of what is happening at any given point in time and how you have to approach having certain dialectical sort of like conversations, right? Like how you approach certain dialectics. Like you have to know if and this is the thing, right? It's like for me, I would not suggest that white folks go on Twitter and be like, I'm looking for a conversation. I would not suggest that at all. That's not to say that don't say nothing, but it's like go that's why people say that like you have to do that in your everyday lives. You got to do that in your everyday lives, and your everyday lives. That's why your everyday life should sort of reflect certain things. So, yeah, Twitter is not necessarily like the best place for like certain types of conversations and discussions, and people know that, right? Right? Like there are individuals like me. A lot of the stuff that I'm talking about, this is stuff that I've talked about in my everyday life. This is not, this is stuff that I've read about. This is stuff that I've researched. This is stuff that I've done. So this is stuff that I've talked to with folks. So the thing is like, yes, maybe Twitter's not the best place to do certain things, but that doesn't mean that you don't do nothing. Right? Doesn't mean you don't do anything. You know? So I think there are ways to approach it, right? You don't have to go on Twitter. You don't have to. There are other places that you can go to, right? There are other places that you can do certain like types of work. Again, just for me, I'm like tired of like all this, like none of the stuff's, some of the stuff's not happening. Some of the stuff's not happening. I'm like, what's going on? And the thing for me is like, I get to be like, yo, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Why y'all not tweeting? Why y'all not on the channel saying certain things? Why aren't you using your platforms in this moment in time, in this particularly charged moment, to say anything? And let me tell y'all something. And this is not just about this particular thing, but this is like just like any sort of type of bigotry or anything like that. Folks really, really, really care about their growth. They really, really care about their growth, their channel prospects when it comes to certain avenues and certain opportunities and stuff like that. Folks really care. They do. Even if they don't say it out loud, they do. And they know without a shadow of a doubt that if they do certain things, folks aren't going to ride with them. And the thing for me is, that's so sad, though. It's so sad that you don't feel like you can speak out in the way that you should, because a few hundred folks might not want to subscribe to you anymore, or a few hundred folks might not, or a few 100,000 folks might not want to subscribe ever, because you spoke out on police brutality. That's so sad. Right? Know what I did? I said, let's start from jump. Folks know. You know, if you come to this channel, you're not pulling that nonsense here. And if you do, you're getting blocked, immediately gone. Immediately. This has happened so often. I've seen it. Folks be coming through and they're like, and then bye. Bang. Bye. Immediately. People don't want to divide their audience. And you know what? Sorry. Unfortunately, I genuinely do not give a damn. I genuinely do not give a damn about your concern about not dividing your audience. Because folks are dying. That's why I don't no. No. You know what I mean? I don't care. You're not gonna get a few thousand subscribers? Sorry. Okay. I want folks to live. That's what I want. I want folks to be able to live. I want folks to be able to be comfortable. I don't want folks to not deal with bigotry in the spaces that I cultivate. That's what I want. What do you want? What do you want to do? And I know folks who do that. I know folks who are on it. They on it. You know what I mean? If they see something like that, they know. I've seen it. I've seen it. So the thing for me is like, what y'all gonna do? What y'all gonna do? And I've seen it so many times. I've been on people's channels. I've been in certain conversations, and I see it. I see it all the time. I'm like, y'all gotta be on these losers. Y'all gotta be on these losers that come through in your channels talking about yada yada yada, bigoted comment A B Z X G F. You know what I mean? You got to get on that stuff because it's not just one person. It's always like the bigger you are, the more of those people come through. And you have to be like, nope. Because if people know, it immediately mitigates and cuts down the people who feel like they can come to you in your space and do that stuff and be comfortable. People know they're not coming here and being comfortable with that nonsense. They're not. They're not. They know that. They know that. Not just people who come through people's channels, but channels. Other people with channels. They know. You're not coming here with that garbage. They know what I'm about. You know what I mean? They know what I'm about. You know? It's like, you gotta deal with that stuff. You gotta deal with that stuff. You gotta come at it head on. People need to know that, yo, you're gonna be held accountable at some level. Right? If you're not held accountable at all, those folks ain't, you know, like, those folks know the deal. They know that if they're not gonna be held accountable, they'll just say things and they'll keep trolling. I've seen the same trolls in the same circles. Just talking. Never get dealt with, and they loud, y'all. They're loud. They're loud. This is why you don't see me going to certain people's channels and watching certain content and hanging out with certain folks, because I'm not dealing with that stuff. No, get out of here. Nah. But when I was, oh my Lord. And I guarantee you it's probably still just as bad. I guarantee it. You know? Again, people just don't want to do any sort of real work. That's what it comes down to. People just don't want to do any type of real work. They just want to keep being like, all right, putting up this content. I'm over that. I'm over it. I'm actually over it. That's why today I'm gonna be going. You know what I mean? I know people in my circle that I trust, they know. And again, this is who I am. You know what I mean? People know that. You got to know that. When you come through, you got to know. You got to know. I've never been like, you know? I will say, when I first started, I was like legit kind of terrified of moving in a certain circle because I knew the second that I was gonna talk with certain folks, I knew it was gonna be a problem. I knew it. I was so scared to come out. I was like, I don't know. Folks find out, you know, folks find out I'm bi, pan. Folks find that out. I know it's gonna be a problem. I'm telling you, I was so scared. And then I did it, and I immediately knew. Certain people, I knew it. I was like, oh, this is gonna lead somewhere, and it's not gonna end well. And did it end well? No. And that was on me. Because that part of it was on me because it was like, these are things that I wish I was better about. When I initially first started, like when I started, when I was like, you know, 20 subscribers, 30 subscribers, that sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like the beginnings of it. And I had folks in my circle. Still have folks in my circle. But like, you know, that supported me. But you know what I mean? I should have known. And I did know. But I was like, didn't work out. A mess. You know, and I think, again, people really don't want to do the work. What they love to do is they love to like either play devil's advocate or they, you know, for whatever reason, because people ask them to play devil's advocate. I guess they got like some texts from folks and they were like, "Yo, can you play devil's advocate, please?" I guess that's what happened. I don't know. You know what I mean? Or they love to talk about empathy and compassion, but generally don't have any of those things themselves when it comes to folks that really need that. Not willing to do the reading, not willing to do the research, not willing to do the work, to have the conversations, to be taught. That's a big thing. You know what I mean? It's hard. Oh man. I'm telling you, those are some of the scariest times for me. Just like being on the channel, and I'm telling you, terrified. That's the only way to describe it. You know? And then once I did that was like, wow, it helped so much because it was just like people now you know. Now you have to know that you're going to have certain conversations when you are dealing with me. You have to know that. You know, and that you're going to have to deal with certain things, certain ideas, and think about those things and really take it to heart. That's hard. It's hard. It was hard. It was so hard. But I'm lucky. I had people in my corner. I had my fiance. I had friends. You know, I had people that I could go to. Even then, and that helped a lot. And I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, like, folks. Folks really don't know how to move past certain trains of thought. I think that's also been really difficult. Like in the past, that was something that I had a really big issue with. Just like dealing with people who did not know how to like really listen and seek out certain bits of information, and you know what I mean, be and open this sort of awareness to certain things. That was hard. I think people just work really hard to be. I I'm trying to think of like the right way to phrase it. But people try to work really hard to just kind of be like situated in where they were like mentally, and where they and who they were mentally. You know, a lot of tunnel vision. And the thing for me is like it's difficult. It's difficult for me to like, you know, have those conversations with those same people. I can't. You know, I just can't. It's not it. You know, and I know, and I, you know, it's hard. It's hard. It's tough. You know, it's tough. And it's not to say that those people can't at all. Some of those people can't at all. It's that they won't. You know, it's that they won't. I think, and that's much harder to deal with when people make a very conscious decision, sometimes subconscious, but most of the time a very conscious decision to be like, I see what you're saying, I hear you, I hear the words, and at some level I'm working through those words and those ideas and those thoughts and those feelings, but I don't really care. That's hard, yo. When you get faced with that, at that point you got to be like, nah, I'm good. Nah. You know, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I think the thing for me is like, it's just, you know, I've said this over and over. It's just like there's so many resources out there. There's so many ways that you can sort of get into contact with people. And I've had people that have like talked to me and be like, yo, where can I go for A, B, C and stuff like that. And those have been some of the best conversations I've had in my life. You know, with those people. Those folks know who they are, and I love them. You know? And y'all know who you are. You know, so yeah, but the thing for me is like I'm just really tired. Today was like a really exhausting kind of day emotionally, and you know, it's like stuff's out there, right? We know that George Floyd was suffocated, right? He died of his asphyxiation, right? We know that he was literally suffocated to death, right? And we know that it's a particular cop's fault. We know that. And the other folks who were there but did nothing for 9 minutes. These to me are very basic things to know. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's hard. You know, when you come out, there's so many different things. There's so many different responses and stuff like that. Some of them are very understandable. Others, like, nah. You know? But it's hard. It's hard. It was really difficult. And every time it's scary. Every time it's scary. I don't think it's ever gotten to a place like for me, it's still like every time I'm like, uh-oh. You know, heart rate goes up a bit. You know, I feel like I'm sweating even if I'm not, like my body temperature raises. I don't know how to describe it, but it's just like it's like a very almost immediate, like just react, like a fearful reaction, like bodily reaction, right? I can feel it, you know? And those two things always tend to happen where I just kind of start looking around, or you know, like my body, like I can feel myself getting hotter, or my heart rate ups a bit. It's very particular. It's a very particular sort of sensation, and it's every single time. And like, you know, for everybody it's different. But you know, but I'm usually glad after the fact. I'm usually like, I'm glad I did that. You know, it's very particular. It's very particular, for me. And like, I don't know. There's just a lot of things that I feel like people, you know, can just support. You don't even have, like, I'm not saying you don't have to do certain things. I feel like I would love it if people put in more effort to learn certain things and to be aware of certain things. But I think that some people, they're gonna grow in the way that they're gonna grow. And I don't expect every single person to be like, all right, I'm gonna read this entire syllabus and read all the books on the like. I'm not like, you know what I mean? I'm gonna be real. I'm realistic in that sense. But that doesn't mean that I'm not gonna keep like saying, yo, read this, check that out, talk to these folks. Listen to this right here, right? Like, I'm gonna keep doing that stuff. But it really, really bothers me when people don't do anything. Like they have these platforms and they have these abilities to do certain things and they don't do nothing. Like nothing. Not even a retweet. Not even a tweet. Not even a like. Nothing. And to me, I'm like, yo. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo. That's and it's even worse when it's at critical moments. Where it's very clear that like today, right now, this moment that we're in is a time to do something, and you don't do nothing. To me, that like, and for me, like, when it comes to sort of like white folks, I gotta know why. Right? You don't gotta study everything. You don't gotta be distinguished professor of like whatever. You don't gotta be. Sometimes it's even worse. Sometimes it's worse to be that dude. Sometimes it's worse because you got into a place where you feel like you don't necessarily have to do too much. You just gotta ride that title, right? But I'm asking the white folks though. I'm like, what y'all doing though? Why haven't you done anything? You know what I mean? And I think the thing for me is like, I know that if I ask certain people, right? I know if I ask certain people and I was like, yo, what's going on? What happened? Right? People, and I feel like people think I don't know that I'm viewed as like combative or aggressive or loud or whatever, or extra, whatever the adjective is. I already know this. But you know what I decided to do? I decided to be like, whatever, right? I'm going to keep it moving. Now, if there are instances where I feel like, whoa, I'm doing a little too much, I got to like, that's not it. I'm taking it to heart, right? And I'm like, okay, I got to readjust. I know that about myself and I'm aware. But I know that folks ain't done a damn thing. But I also know that if I talk with those same people and I was like, what's going on? People would be like, yo, what's up? Yo, let me tell you about lazy academics. A lot of them out there. You know what I mean? They're there. And people know. There are certain names that always get thrown around within those circles. And it's like, those people know that others know about them and their lazy scholarship. But this is why for me, like, I haven't DM'd people and say, yo, what's going on? How come you haven't said anything about this thing? And part of it comes from me. Part of it is like, I want people to be able to do that on their own. But the other part of it is also like a little bit of fear, a little bit of, you know, I don't want to come across as like a bad guy or whatever. That's something that is like it's a very deep sort of rooted sort of thing. You know, like for me. You know what I mean? When I'm in conversations with people, when I'm doing certain things, I don't speak in the same way as I do on Twitter, because Twitter is a very different space. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is like, it doesn't mean that I don't tackle certain topics or anything like that. It's that like I just sound different. You know, the me on Twitter is it's a different sort of like sound from the me in real life, in terms of like how I talk with like certain people and stuff like that. And that's because I know I have to be more careful in a certain way. I have to be very careful about how I approach certain people, how I introduce certain topics, that sort of thing. Because you got to be careful. Not only you have to watch your own neck, but you got to watch other people's necks as well, right? You got to right. You got to protect other people's necks as well. You got to be like, yo, if I do something, what'll happen to these other people that will be affected by what I do? You know, in this certain environment. So you got to be careful. You got to be like a lot more careful in that way. I think Twitter allows people to be very candid in a way that they feel like they can't be in their everyday lives. But it doesn't mean that they don't talk about certain things at all. It just means the approach is different. You know what I mean? Like when I was still in academia, like the approach for talking about certain topics was different. In like, you know, like from like listening to a job talk done by like a professor that wanted to work at a particular university than Twitter. It's very different. It's very different. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Things definitely can. And that's something that I've tried to be more careful about. Like, you know, if I'm like, if I'm trying to be like, but if I'm trying to just kind of say something and be like, hey, then that's something that I've tried to work on. But I think when you just say something, and the thing is, I like on Twitter, I'm blunt, you know, I'm pretty direct, and so that almost immediately with certain people who are not as direct and who aren't as blunt, that'll come across as like more aggressive and more combative. And it's not something that I'm really trying to do in that sense. There are instances where, yes, I'm trying to be like, yo, what are you doing? But then there are other instances where I'm like, just trying to be like, yo, this is a piece of information that I think people should know about, and that's it. You know? So it can be difficult. It can be difficult to navigate that and to figure that out. And it's hard. And sometimes you just can't worry about that when you're talking about, you know, trying to disseminate certain bits of information. But it doesn't mean that you don't think about how you're tweeting things and how you formulate comments. You know, that's why for me, like when I see something, I like in the past I'd like be very defensive because I was like, you know what I mean? Because look at me, I gotta be defensive, right? But like at the same time, I had to be like, all right, think, pause, what's going on here? What's being said here? Is this like what's it going? You know, like that's something I do now. But again, to me, it's like doing the work. It's a lot of things, you know. It's things like what can you do? I think, you know, doing the work entails advocacy, entails, you know, certain ally work. You know, mutual aid, and mutual aid can come in like very different. It come in so many different forms. You know, I think the biggest bits of sort of mutual aid, you know, tend to be like helping folks out, helping each other out with like financial issues, food shortages, health issues, stuff like that. And legal representation, if that's the case. There's a lot. There's a lot. And then it's just like even just like basic, like not I would say basic, but just like other things that are maybe not as large in a sort of organizational kind of way. Like, if someone's like, oh, I want to read that book, but I don't know how to get it. You know what I mean? Even just like donating, like donating like a book, saying like, hey, I'll buy that book for you if you can, or hey, you can borrow this, mail it back to me when whatever, or give it back to me when you can. It's like little things. It's like little things, helping folks realize how they can apply for like a library card or something. There's so many different things. Directing folks in, to different organizations and coalitions that are particularly helpful to them, and other people that they know. Like it's just like stuff. And the thing is, like, you don't start with all of this knowledge, right? But all this knowledge is very accessible, and I think that's the thing for me. It's like this stuff is accessible. Some things aren't, but I think a lot of things are. I don't know. This is a lot, y'all. It's just a lot. I don't know. I think I'm gonna stop. I think I'm gonna stop tweeting now, but not tweeting, but like I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop streaming for now. I think I said what I gotta say. Again, there's a way to approach it. You know what I mean? There's a way to approach it where you don't have to name names. You don't have to have like certain types of drama stir up in a particular way. But I think you do have to be vocal about when you feel like people are not doing nearly enough or anything at all. At that point, you got to be like, yo. You're gonna be like, yo, what are y'all doing? Folks can't even put Black Lives Matter in their bios, and that's like bare minimum. You don't even necessarily have to do that, but like you could just tweet like I don't see folks do that. Folks tweeted Black Lives Matter. That's not to say that you stop there, but it's a start. Some folks haven't even started. And I think that's something that bothers me. It's like folks haven't even started. It's like you gotta start. You gotta start. Read some books. Watch some videos. Look into things. Look into certain organizations. Look into certain coalitions. Look into, those types of things. Read certain books. The lists are out there. There are a lot of lists out there. There are a lot of free syllabi out there. They're like, and you don't even necessarily have to look for syllabi, right? Because sometimes that can be difficult to find if you don't even necessarily know what a syllabi is. But I think a lot of folks do know, right? Like I don't presume to believe that folks are unintelligent or anything like that. Which is why I'm also like do certain things, because I'm like, I think folks know that they can go and seek these bits of information out. You can do that. So it's a lot. All right. I think I'm done here. Because I've been streaming for like an hour. And my tea's almost done. And I want to refill it. And I can feel it in my throat. I've been talking for a lot. I've been yelling a little bit. So, but Alex, Morning Hayes, Justine, Beyond Solace, Spider Shot MC, thank y'all for coming through. I'm not stopping. You already know this. You know? I'm gonna try to, keep throwing out links this week, talking about these different things in certain ways. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. You know? So thank y'all for coming through. All right, to another rambling stream. This is ramblings number 6. Uh, I'm gonna take the rest of the day to do what I need to do, and I'm gonna get out of here. All right. Again, love y'all. Stay safe. Read them books. Obviously, Black Lives Matter. You already know what it is. All Black lives, not certain types of Black lives. All right. You already know what it is. I'm gonna get out of here. No problem, Morning Haze. I got you. All right, and I'm gonna get out of here. Because I gotta go. That's why I haven't been streaming. I've just been out of it. So thank y'all for coming through. I'm the Black Manga Critic, and I'm out here.